Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sound of Musicals social media channels. And today we are joined by a special guest, Marc Antolin, who is the star of Romantics Anonymous, Olivier Award nominated for Little Shop of Horrors as well. Welcome to the Sound of Musicals.
Hello, thanks for having me.
So how's it going, Marc? How are things for you?
Oh, well, amazing at the moment because we're getting to do this brilliant show live every night,
Yeah.
which is something that I didn't think would happen for a very long time. And bizarrely, to be doing it at Bristol Old Vic, where we left the show in February before we were meant to take the whole thing to America for 3 months. So
Oh, wow.
there's something really strange about being back here six
Yeah.
months later and doing the show again. So.
Yeah, and it is a wonderful show. And what would you introduce the show as to these people, to the people watching this video, if they've got no idea? How would you describe this production?
I would say it's a big warm hug that everyone needs right now. And this show is such a gorgeous show. And you know, it's funny, it's sort of very real. And at the same time as it being very real, it's very heightened, and there's so many lovable characters that you fall for in the show.
Yeah,
And I think there's something incredibly human about it. You know, especially at the moment, it's completely relevant. You know,
of course, yeah.
people who are suffering from social anxiety and afraid to step outside of their own little world, and that's what we're all doing at the moment. Do you know what I mean? And especially having been locked up for 6 months or whatever, you know, we're all sort of feeling anxious about going out and meeting different people and seeing friends and things. And bizarrely, I didn't think the show could be any more relevant, and it somehow has with this, even down to the passing of an anti-bac
Yes.
Angel.
Yes. I watched the show last night, and that scene just stood out to me so much. And it must be so strange having written it before all this happened, and then that happens in the show where someone passes hand sanitizer around the circle.
Well, it's really funny because we wondered whether we'd be changing any of the show to make it relevant, and actually we didn't need to do anything because a lot of it sort of rang even more true this time round. So
yeah. And your character is one of those socially awkward people. So was it difficult for you to get into that kind of headspace, or is it something that you can relate to?
I think we can all relate to it in a way, and that's the brilliant thing about working with Emma Rice, the director, is that she allows you to bring a lot of yourself into the character that you're playing. So it's been really nice because you can put a lot of your own traits into the character and sort of mold it to suit yourself slightly. And and even more so now, because I've been in lockdown in Wales, so sort of leaving my bubble and joining a new one essentially to come and do the show again. I was very anxious about getting on the train and sort of touching things, and there's a lot more now that I find more sort of that I relate to with Jean Rene than I did before. So it's quite nice to revisit it after this experience.
Yeah, and it's a completely original show, isn't it? It's a new show, and you were creating your own kind of character, this new character that was yours to mold almost. So how did you go about doing that in the rehearsal process?
Well, actually, when we first did the show in the Sam Wanamaker Playhouse at the Globe in 2017, I actually played a different role in the show. So I played Ludo, Loiseau, and Remy.
Yes.
So the sort of blueprint of the show was there. But like I said earlier, whenever you work with Emma Rice, she encourages you to make the role your own. So I sort of took elements that had been created already in terms of staging wise and things, and then in just a bit of myself into it. So it's been really lovely and what's bizarre is before, when I did the show, my track was very, very busy, and I kept constantly changing hats and costumes and hairstyles. And so this one is really, isolated for me, and I very rarely meet other characters in the show.
Yeah.
And when I do, I'm sort of afraid to interact with them. So this rehearsal process this time around was a lot more lonely for me, and a lot more sort of isolated, and which really helped
Yeah.
me into the character. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a completely different experience this time around.
Well, it must be great to see the show from a new perspective of a new character as well.
Completely, yeah. And to see how the sort of character I was playing before doing the complete opposite version of the scene
Yeah.
is really interesting. Yeah.
Well, I imagine it's a great show, and I was lucky enough to see it last night. And to anyone watching who hasn't already booked a ticket for this live stream, I encourage you to do so. Mark, where can they get these tickets from?
So you can order from www.wisechildrendigital.com.
Okay.
I've said that quite a lot over the last couple of weeks. Yeah, and all the info is there on how to watch, and you can more or less watch it from anywhere in the world. I think there's probably maybe 3 or 4 small places that you can't watch it from.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's on 7:30 p.m. tonight live, and UK time tomorrow 9 p.m. because we're doing a slightly later show because people in America can get to watch it and things.
Yes.
So and anywhere else really. So but what we've tried to do is, because we were meant to tour it around the US and other venues, the Wise Children, the company, they've tried to create a sort of virtual tour. So each night you can watch it from anywhere, but each night is dedicated to a different region.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday night is our USA night. So lots of the partner theatres that we were meant to visit in America, you can also book through those, and they'll also get a cut of the box office fee. But tonight is London and the Southeast, so you can book it via Bristol the Old Vic in London website, or Brighton Dome and Brighton Festival, I think Norwich and Marlow Theatre.
Wonderful. It's a great way of supporting theatres that can't actually hold a show at this time, which I think is wonderful. And we've got one final question before we leave you to go and do your warm-ups for tonight's performance. Is everyone who's watching the show is asked to watch with some chocolate. So my chocolate here is dairy milk, of course, a classic. What would yours be if you were watching this at home?
So my go-to bar of chocolate is a double-decker.
Oh, good choice.
But I think I probably want a lot more than that to watch the show with. So yeah. I think I'd go for one of those, the dairy milk, is it the Marvelous Creations ones with all the fizzy,
yes,
whiz bang, whatever it is inside it. Yeah, I'd go for one of those because it's a treat night.
Excellent choice. And anyone who's planning on watching tonight or on other nights, make sure you got your chocolate with you.
Absolutely. Otherwise, you won't understand the show.
Of course not. Okay, and you can catch Mark on The Sound of Musicals in a couple weeks' time. So we look forward to seeing you again there, Mark. And thank you guys for watching. Enjoy Romantics Anonymous.